What happens when satellites, those silent machines orbiting far above Earth, become targets? In 2007, the world gasped as China shocked the international community by shooting down one of its own satellites with a missile called the SC-19. The explosion was dramatic, but so were the consequences. Thousands of fragments of debris scattered across orbit, threatening not just other satellites, but astronauts aboard the International Space Station. A year later, the United States responded with its own demonstration. Using a missile called the SM-3, fired from a Navy ship, America destroyed a malfunctioning satellite. But this time, the result was different. No massive debris field, no chaos in orbit. The strike was precise, controlled, and deliberate. Two events, two nations, both proving they could shoot down satellites. But the difference between the SC-19 and the SM-3 reveals far more than technology. It reveals two very different approaches to power. And behind the dramatic headlines lies a deeper truth. Sometimes what looks like strength may actually be an illusion. Let's rewind to January 2007. China launches a ballistic missile called the SC-19, a modified version of a medium-range missile, aimed not at Earth, but at the heavens. Its target, a weather satellite called Fengyun, 1C, orbiting at roughly 860 kilometers above Earth. The missile strikes, and the satellite explodes into a massive cloud of debris, over 3,000 trackable pieces with countless more too small to detect. This wasn't just another weapons test. It was the first successful anti-satellite ASAT test in decades, and it instantly signaled that China had entered the exclusive club of space warriors. Chinese state media celebrated. Analysts around the world were stunned. The message was clear. Beijing could reach into orbit and destroy satellites at will. For a nation that had long been dismissed as behind in space technology, this was a bold declaration. But the applause didn't last long. Within days, space agencies and militaries realized what had happened. The debris cloud spread through Earth's orbit, threatening communication satellites, weather satellites, GPS systems, and even the International Space Station. Each fragment traveled at thousands of kilometers per hour, fast enough to destroy anything it struck. The irony was hard to ignore. China's show of strength had endangered not only its rivals' satellites, but its own. On the surface, the SC-19 test looked like raw power. But beneath the spectacle, it revealed flaws in strategy and judgment. First, it was reckless. By creating long-lived debris, China had created a problem for the entire world and for itself. The Fengyun debris cloud is still being tracked today, nearly 2 decades later. Every piece remains a bullet in orbit, threatening any satellite unlucky enough to cross its path. Second, it highlighted a reliance on modified older technology. The SC-19 was not a purpose-built anti-satellite weapon. It was adapted from an existing missile, using a kill vehicle guided by sensors not designed for space precision. It worked, but it wasn't elegant. Third, it backfired diplomatically. Instead of intimidation, China earned criticism. Nations that might have applauded Beijing's technological leap instead voiced alarm at its disregard for orbital safety. This is the heart of the illusion. To domestic audiences, the SC-19 was proof of strength, but to military strategists, it looked clumsy, careless, and short-sighted. Because in space, destroying a satellite is easy. Doing it without destroying the orbital environment you depend on, that is the true challenge. Fast forward to February 2008. The United States faces a problem. A malfunctioning spy satellite, USA-193, is tumbling in orbit. It's out of control, and worse, it contains toxic fuel that could survive re-entry and crash onto Earth. Instead of letting it fall, the Pentagon makes a decision. Take it out. But not with a ballistic missile. Instead, America chooses the SM-3, a missile launched from the Aegis Ballistic Missile Defense System aboard the USS Lake Erie, a Navy cruiser. The launch is flawless. The missile leaves the ship, soars into the sky, and collides with the satellite at an altitude of 247 kilometers. The hit is surgical. The satellite is obliterated, and the fuel tank destroyed. But here's the key. Because the strike was at a low orbit, the debris quickly re-entered the atmosphere and burned up. Within weeks, almost nothing remained. No lasting debris. No orbital hazard. Mission accomplished. What the SM-3 test proved was more than capability. It proved precision. It showed that America could not only destroy a satellite, but do so in a way that minimized collateral damage. It was power, yes, but it was power under control. And in the language of deterrence, that control speaks louder than the explosion. So how do these two weapons stack up? SC-19, a ground-launched ballistic missile adapted for anti-satellite use. Capable of destroying satellites in higher orbits. Creates massive, long-lasting debris fields. Symbolizes ambition, but reveals recklessness. SM-3, a ship-launched missile from the Aegis system. Designed originally for ballistic missile defense, then adapted for ASAT roles. Accurate, precise, and able to minimize debris. Represents technological sophistication and operational control. The SC-19 says, we can do it too. The SM-3 says, we can do it better and smarter. And that difference is profound, because in military strategy, it's not about what you can do once. It's about what you can do repeatedly, reliably, and without undermining yourself in the process. China's SC-19 test was hailed as proof of Beijing's arrival as a space power. But nearly 2 decades later, many see it differently. It was bold, yes, but also short-sighted. It showed China could shoot down a satellite, but also that it was willing to risk the stability of orbit to do so. That is not sustainable strength. That is spectacle. By contrast, America's SM-3 test was a message of maturity. It said, we can strike in space if we choose, but we'll do it precisely, responsibly, and without wrecking the very domain we all depend on. And that's the deeper lesson. In space warfare, as on the seas, China often projects images of power that don't fully match the substance. Big parades, dramatic tests, bold statements, but beneath the surface lies a gap in technology, discipline, and long-term thinking. The SC-19 was a roar. The SM-3 was a whisper. But the whisper carried more weight. Why does this matter? Because satellites are the nervous system of modern civilization. They guide missiles, direct planes, power navigation, enable communication, and track the weather. Without them, both militaries and economies would be crippled. The ability to destroy satellites is a dangerous tool. But like all dangerous tools, the question isn't just who has it, it's how they use it. China's SC-19 demonstrated capability, but also recklessness. America's SM-3 demonstrated capability with control. And that contrast mirrors the broader competition between the two nations. Beijing shows strength in parades and bold tests. Washington shows strength in systems, alliances, and precision. One emphasizes appearances. The other emphasizes credibility. And in warfare, whether at sea, in the skies, or in orbit, credibility always matters more than spectacle. So, who wins in the duel between SC-19 and SM-3? On paper, both can take out satellites. Both are powerful. But in practice, the answer is clear. The SC-19 proved China could shock the world, but also that it was willing to harm its own future in the process. The SM-3 proved America could do the same, without the recklessness, with far greater precision, and with the backing of a much larger integrated system of defense. And that's the true difference. Strength isn't just about firing a missile into the sky. It's about proving that you can use that power intelligently, consistently, and without undermining yourself. China's SC-19 may have been dramatic. But in the long run, America's SM-3 and the systems behind it are what truly dominate space warfare. So, what do you think? Was China's SC-19 a bold leap into space warfare, or just a dangerous illusion of strength? And does America's SM-3 prove that precision matters more than spectacle? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dive analysis, and join me next time as we uncover the hidden truths behind the weapons shaping our world.